Hello, my name is Emma. Today I'm going to share with you a story that I'm sure you've experienced at least once in your life, perhaps without even realizing it. You know those moments when everything feels perfectly ordinary, when you're wrapped in the calm of an uneventful evening, and then without warning something extraordinary happens? You try to make sense of it, but the harder you think, the less it makes sense. This story is about one such night. It may sound familiar, like a long-forgotten fear resurfacing from the depths of your memory. Sit back and listen as I recount the events of a night I will never forget. We had just moved into our new home that day. After weeks of cleaning, organizing, and arranging furniture, we were finally ready to settle in. Exhausted from the day's work, we ate a quick dinner, left the dirty dishes in the kitchen, some still holding scraps of food, and went straight to bed, telling ourselves we'd deal with it in the morning. I don't know how long I had been asleep when I woke to an alarming noise from the kitchen. It was loud and chaotic, as if someone was slamming dishes and clinking glasses. My first thought was that my husband had gotten up to tidy up, despite how exhausted we all were. But as I blinked myself awake, I noticed the sky outside was still pitch black. The noise had also woken my husband and my daughter. We stepped into the hallway, exchanging confused glances as the clatter continued. Quietly, we crept toward the kitchen, the dim light from the street lamp outside casting faint shadows on the walls. As we neared the doorway, we froze. There, in the faint glow, was a figure hunched over the countertop. It was wearing a tattered white dress, and its long, unkempt hair hung in wild tangles. Its movements were erratic and jerky as it shoveled the leftover food from our plates into its mouth with inhuman speed. We stood paralyzed, fear coursing through us. My daughter whimpered, clutching my arm tightly. My husband, ever the protector, took a step forward, but I quickly grabbed his arm, holding him back. I don't know what possessed me, but I reached for the light switch and flicked it on. The moment the kitchen flooded with light, the creature collapsed like a puppet whose strings had been cut. It lay there motionless, its presence now as eerie as its actions had been. But as our eyes scanned the room, we noticed something unsettling. The plates it had touched were smeared with streaks, as if licked clean, but not by a human tongue. Fear rooted us in place for what felt like an eternity. My daughter sobbed quietly, burying her face in my shoulder. My husband tried to maintain his composure, but his trembling hands betrayed him. None of us spoke as we slowly backed out of the kitchen, retreating to the safety of the living room. That night, we decided to throw away all the dishes and vowed never to leave anything dirty in the sink again. The very next day, we put the house up for sale. It didn't matter how much money we lost. We couldn't stay there another night. We moved to a new house within weeks, desperate to put the experience behind us. But even now, years later, I can't sleep if there's a single dirty plate left out. I can't shake the memory of that night, nor can I explain what we saw. All I know is that some things are better left clean. And that, my friends, is my story. Whatever you do, remember this. Some messes aren't just unsightly, they can invite something far more terrifying.